these are tomatoes and peppers. Looks like herbs, spearmint, endive, cardoon. What is this stuff? Those are Ezekiel's watermelon experiment. More watermelons? According to the Farmer's Almanac, I have to plant roots today. It's an auspicious root day. Hey, there's carrots. Look, a rake. It's in the path. Let's go get it. We'll need that for our gardens. So we're gonna take these 3 rows right here and put some root crops in them. I had roots here, here, and here, and here. So these were leaf crops, and I think I would like to alternate the roots and the leaves. But in here I've got the remnants of some broccoli that are blooming, which is kind of nice for the bees, but whatever. Bees can go somewhere else. I've not heard anything about bees being important to the ecosystem, so I'm just gonna feed these to my goats. I'm trying to chop them and leave most of the roots in the ground, since we're so short on organic material out here. We had a little garden visitor show up. She wants to take my camera lady away for a while. But what we're doing, in case you haven't seen the previous videos, is that's a big horse trough full of soaked biochar. We put in chicken manure and Dynagrow and other nutrients, and it's scummed over really nicely with algae, which means that it has plenty of nitrogen in it because it's feeding that. And then we're putting that right down the centers. We've run out of compost, so we're doing an experiment. We'll just do these 3 here with soaked biochar instead. We did soaked biochar in a bed at the end of 2020, and it did great. So we'll put our roots in there and see how they do. Last time we did it, we had gigantic radishes that were sweet, and they were good enough to eat like a fruit, which surprised me to no end. So we'll do it again. Just right down these nice single rows. You can go see the camera lady. You ready? All right. got to be stuff that is the right season. Hey, there's a golden ball turnip. Oh, rutabaga, there we go. Radish, there we go. Cucumbers, it's too early. We got borage. There's all kinds of good stuff in here. I stick them in these canisters in the fridge and put in a couple of these silica gel packets, in the larger ones and one in the smaller ones. Keep your seeds for much longer. Sunflowers, okay, that's it for that. Let's see what else we got. The two things that knock your seeds out are heat and humidity. And you lower the humidity significantly with those silica gel packets, and of course you lower the temperatures by sticking them in the fridge. And you got a sealed container like that, it doesn't let the air in very much, if at all, and it's really good. Let's see what do we got here. Daikons. I love daikons. That's probably kale or kohlrabi, it just says K on it. I have a lot of wonderful people that send me seeds. So we've got some, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what they are, but a fellow named Steve sent me a bunch of great seeds this year, and a few others of you have sent me seeds too. I'm definitely not going to run out of seeds, and I enjoy having when people come over saying, hey, you want to go through the seeds and see if there's anything you want? Always got plenty. This looks like it's mostly herbs in here. Okay, so we don't want that. I am tempted to throw in a few more carrots. Let's throw those dragon carrots in there. Those look pretty. We could do a double row on one of those. What else we got? That's enough. That's enough. We're only supposed to plant roots today, so let's not get crazy. Oh, one more thing. Just right turnip. A friend of mine told me that this was supposed to be the best tasting turnip and that they're kind of expensive. So we got some seeds and shared some of them with me. So we will try some just right turnips. They're like $3,000 a seed or something like that. So we'll make sure that everyone comes up by very carefully planting them. I'm gonna double row this part right here for carrots. Carrots can be crowded in a little more. We don't have irrigation out here. We have to rely on the rainfall. Spring tends to be a little bit dry sometimes, so the wide spacing is important. If you don't know what I'm talking about with wide spacing, you have to get Steve Solomon's book, Water-Wise Gardening. Water-Wise Gardening is like, it will help drought-proof your garden, teach you how to use irrigation better, but give you the keys to growing with rainfall, which I just found completely fascinating. It's a rewritten and expanded version of his classic Gardening Without Irrigation, which he wrote for the Pacific Northwest. And this new version of it covers all of the United States, and it has a lot more data on gardening when you have water and gardening when you don't have water, and how you can do all of these hacks in your garden to spacing and compost and all kinds of other things to really stretch water use. Totally changed my view on gardening, and I highly recommend it. It's from the Seed Savers Exchange. Dragon carrot. I have occasional luck with carrots, so let's do it.
So we divided this row in half, and on this side we have Golden Ball from M.I. Gardener, and on this side we have Just Right turnips.
We got some rutabagas from the local farm feed store and planted them this last fall. Some of them came up and a lot of them did not. The ones we got were really good, so we're gonna give these M.I. Gardener American purple top rutabagas a try. The rutabagas that we did get were delicious, so we're just going to do that again. But now we'll support our friend, M.I. Gardener.
So this half I'm planting with Lady Slipper Radish from M.I. Gardener. And this half I planted with an unknown daikon.
To get water out here, we've got to carry it out ourselves. And this type of sand is hydrophobic when it gets dusty dry. That means though it repels water. It doesn't like water. And so what I do is I go along and I kind of sprinkle across the top and let that soak in for a little bit. And then when I come back with more water, that area will then receive more water. Once it starts receiving water, it's fine. It's just when it's really, really dry, it wants to roll off the top. We used to do this in Fort Lauderdale all the time when I was a kid. We'd pour water on the ground and it would just roll all over the place. And the sand underneath would stay dry. It would just run off the top. But you gotta just kind of moisten it and then it will receive more water. So we'll go down each row with a watering can twice, once to sprinkle it and moisten the top and kind of get a little crust of wet soil, and then water it again, and then the next time it soaks in deeper. And that should be all the watering we have to do to get these seeds to come up. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Every year's garden is a series of experiments. So 2020, we played around with soaking biochar and that worked. And we played around with doing some single row gardens because we didn't have much compost and we didn't want to try to come up with all kinds of soil fertility, and we didn't have any mulch to do any little intensive things with. So we decided to experiment with old Victory garden styles. Then we found that this area washed out sometimes in the rain and we'd get little ruts through the soil. So then I did the mounded beds as single mounded rows, and I found this worked really, really well in the fall. So we're kind of combining things. Is it the perfect way to do things? Is it the final way to do things? No. Gardening is really complicated. There are so many different methods and styles and things you can do, and everybody's yard is different and everybody's personalities are different. No, what I want you to do is just experiment. Just go out there and start experimenting and see what works. But you can hardly go wrong with the wide spacing and the single rows that our ancestors used to do. So we knew that that was a fundamentally decent system to begin with for food production. Best system? Is it the best to use biochar instead of something else? We didn't have enough Solomon's Gold, Steve's complete organic fertilizer mix to do it this time. So, wow, we put in biochar. But that worked really well in a bed, so we know that's gonna work. And yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. And your gardens may look different, but I'll tell you, man, single rows, 3-foot spacing, doesn't get much simpler than that. You saw how easy it was to put them in. Even in this bad soil, we get some really pretty gardens out of here. If you want a complete gardening toolkit and an overview of what you need, say if the grid went down and the supply lines broke and all that, check out my book, Grow or Die, The Good Guide to Survival Gardening. It has been tested and tried and it works. Grow or Die, I will put a link below. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and hang around. Glad you're here. Catch you next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.